In some previous sessions, I already defined some parameters like schedule variance and cost variance to describe the progress of a project. In this session, I will define performance indices. I will start with the Schedule Performance Index or the SPI, then the Cost Performance Index or the CPI, the Cost Schedule Index or the CSI, and then I will show you how you can use the SPI and the CPI to deduct the project schedule and cost position. Let's first have a look at the Schedule Performance Index or the SPI. We want to identify how the project is evolving, how we are creating deliverables relative to the plan, to the S-curve, and we define the SPI, the Schedule Performance Index, as earned value over planned value at a certain time t. We can interpret the SPI in the following way. An SPI which is smaller than 1 means that the project is progressing slower than planned. When the SPI is 1, then it's progressing as planned. And when the SPI is larger than 1, it's progressing faster than planned. So when we look at the table at period 5, we find for the planned value, the earned value, and also the actual cost, but I will not talk about actual cost in this slide. We see the cumulative planned value or the S-curve, the cumulative earned value, and we see that the earned value at period 5 is 15. The planned value at period 5 is 25. So earned value over planned value, 15 over 25, is equal to 0.6, which is smaller than 1, which means that the project is progressing slower than planned. Now let's have a look at the Cost Performance Index. Here we have to see how we are creating deliverables and how much we are paying for these deliverables. We can define the CPI as earned value over actual cost at a certain time. When a CPI is smaller than 1, it means that we are more expensive. We are spending more money than planned to create the deliverables. When the CPI is equal to 1, we are spending money as planned. And when the CPI is larger than 1, we are spending less money than planned, which is, of course, a very interesting element. Here we have to look at earned value and actual cost. We look again at period 5. At period 5, we see that the CPI is 15 over 20, which is 0.75, which is smaller than 1, and it means that our project is behind schedule and over budget, because we have to consider both parameters, SPI and CPI. The next parameter to define is the Cost Schedule Index or the CSI, and the CSI is the product of the SPI with the CPI at a certain time. The Cost Schedule Index measures the likelihood that the project can recover from delays and cost overruns. The interpretation of the CAI is very simple. It should be as close to 1 as possible. Taking the same example as before, we already calculated the SPI, which is 0.6. We calculated the CPI, which is 0.75, and the product of those two indices is 0.45, which is far away from 1. So in our project here, it is not very probable that we can recover from delays and cost overruns. Our project seems to be in a lot of trouble. Like I said, at the end of this session, we will have a look at the project schedule and cost position using SPI and CPI. The top shows CPI larger than 1. The horizontal white line is CPI equal to 1. And the bottom line gives us a CPI smaller than 1. For the columns, we can say the first column gives us the situation for an SPI smaller than 1. The vertical white line is an SPI equal to 1. And the last column gives us the conditions for an SPI larger than 1. So we can look at those elements. We can combine those. SPI smaller than 1 with CPI larger than 1 means that we are behind schedule, but we're spending less than planned. On the other side, SPI larger than 1 means that we are going faster, but we are spending more money. So this is another way to deduct the schedule and cost position of our project. You did a great job. I will see you in the next session. Thank you.